We're gonna get started in just a couple minutes. And I decided, as suggested to me by one of my clients in the studio this week, or a Watch That Rock client that I teach on the Upper East Side, I was going over some breath stuff with her because I'm taking a course right now that is a postnatal corrective exercise specialist certification, and there's a huge lecture series on breath work, or just breath, and how we breathe, and functional breath and diaphragmatic breath, and I'm like, it's blowing my mind. I'm obsessed with it. So I'm going to share some tidbits that I've learned.
Oh, fun. That's exciting.
Yeah, so we'll start with that, and then we'll move into the work. But while we're here, and since this will go on our YouTube page, which we now have live, and some of our videos have views.
Oh my God, really?
I know, I don't know who's watching them, but it's exciting. So if you can't watch that rock with us live, we're posting all of these videos onto YouTube. Right now, we're working to get a landing page that'll literally be watchthatrock.com, where you can go and all the YouTube videos will be there. It's under construction, so that's happening. But in the meantime, you can go to YouTube, type in Watch That Rock Live, maybe even the date, that's part of the title, and then all of our videos should come up in that search and you can check it out. Yeah, that's exciting. And then, now, next week we will be doing Thursday, the 21st. Thursday at 8 p.m. And then the next week we'll be doing Saturday, March 2nd at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So those are the next two upcoming ones. And by March 2nd, we'll have our rest of our March dates for you. And then a very exciting thing, if you are local to New York and you are watching this, if you're available on February 27th, which is a Wednesday, I'll be teaching a very similar class, Pilates mat class, at a place called the Financial Gym. They're a really awesome financial services company. They're like Wall Street, but way cooler. It's like not stuffy at all. I recently started using their services, and they're being kind enough to let me come in and teach a class at one of their Wine and Learns. So it's $15 if you're not a member on Eventbrite. If you go to Eventbrite, I just checked it out. You go to Eventbrite and then you type in Pinot and Pilates and it'll pop up. And there's a picture, it's called Pinot and Pilates. It's at the Financial Gym. There's a picture of someone rolling out a mat, and that's the correct event. So
that's how you know you're in the right
place.
place.
That's how you know. I'll include it in my newsletter next week, so that a link to it. So
rad.
All right, let's get started. Let's do it to it. Okay, so I'm gonna sit here next to Bianca.
Do you like my new pink mat?
We got a pink mat! Yay!
Am I facing you?
Yeah, no, sit and face the camera.
Okay.
And sit right on top of your sit bones. Actually, let's give you a little cushion to sit on top of. You guys can do this at home too. So get like a little pillow, and you can prop yourself up on it. Maybe one is fine. And just put your butt.
Sit on it?
Yeah, sit on top of it, like as if it were a bolster.
Like, what do I do?
You know in yoga how you have bolsters?
Okay.
Just so that you get a little lift up off the ground, so that your hip flexors are above your knees, and you can crisscross your legs in front of them, just so you feel like you have like no tension in the hip flexors. Feel pretty good? Okay. Okay. So in breathing and all of our exercise that we do, we want to do a nice big diaphragmatic breath. Sydney, this might be really familiar to you since you're a singer, but I know that for me personally, even though I was focusing on it my whole life as a singer, I don't feel like I was ever really getting the connection that I eventually was able to find through Pilates. So always good to come back to breath for lots of reasons. I'll be brief, but one of the reasons is that I just heard this week a cool statistic that was like, there was a survey of like people all over America, and they found that your job did not necessarily determine how much back pain you may or may not have. It was generally by profession, the same across the board. But then people who had hobbies that were swimming and singing had less back pain across the board, probably because they are the only two things that focus on diaphragmatic breath and like in their practice of it. So diaphragmatic breath can really help with all kinds of pain and misalignments. That's what I learned in my corrective exercise course, and so that's why we're really going to focus on breath today. So sit up nice and tall and find yourself right on top of your sits bones, your two bony points at the bottom of your body, and I want you to sit on top of those so that you're in neutral spine. So you have a small curvature at your low back, and your hands can just start on your thighs or wherever feels comfortable. And just start to take a couple nice, natural, big, deep breaths. Good. And there's no right or wrong here. We will kind of try to manipulate the breath a little bit, but it's not wrong if you're doing it one way or not. Just breathe. Good. Ooh, I'm gonna close my computer so it doesn't beep at us. Okay, now take your hands and place them onto your abdominals. Actually, let's go even higher. Let's place them on our rib cage. So you're gonna put like a ring around your rib cage right underneath your bra line if you're a lady, or like touching your ribs if you're a man. And take a nice big deep inhale and see if you feel any breath going into the hands there, or if you're breathing above the chest. And the goal here is gonna be to start to breathe into those hands so that when you breathe in, you actually physically feel the hands expand away from each other. And then on the exhale, you just feel them gently come back together. And you're gonna try to calm down any big chest breathing. So if my shoulders are lifting while I'm breathing, I wanna calm that down and start to try to breathe into my hands here and below my hands into my abdominals. Yeah, that's it, Bianca, good. Okay, take 2 more big breaths like that. Good, 1 more. Breathe even deeper. So think about filling up the base of your body, your pelvic floor with air, and then filling up the low abdominals, the middle of the belly, and then the rib cage too. Now go ahead and let's just change our hand position so you can see if you get like one that's better for you or not. Take one hand, put it on your chest, take one hand, put it on your belly, and start to breathe. And again, you're gonna think about filling up that belly hand with air, and not letting your chest hand move much. And just keep breathing just like this a couple more times. When we're breathing with our upper body, our shoulders into our chest, we're in fight or flight response in our sympathetic nervous system. And we're also activating muscles that are not intended to be used for breathing up to like 2,500,000 times a day, which is way too much. And that causes all kind of misfunction and misalignment in these muscles that are already prone to lots of tension. So if we are tense there and then we're breathing there too, we're turning those muscles on and off way too often, and we're causing even more pain and stiffness and whatnot. So if we breathe down here, we can start to let everything else sort of relax a bit more and we have better alignment. So take 2 more nice big deep breaths like that. And on the next exhale, I want you to incorporate your pelvic floor, the base of muscles at the bottom of the body. And you're gonna inhale, fill the belly up with air, and then exhale, let the belly just gently come in and try to feel your pelvic floor, the bottom of your body, lift up a little bit as if it was an elevator, and it's gonna raise up gently to about the 3rd floor on that exhale. And then on the inhale, the pelvic floor comes down and the belly expands. So those operate together. Everything opens and expands, and then everything kind of sucks in and lifts. Good. And then keep going 2 more times like that. And lift the pelvic floor on the exhale. It's gentle, you're not clenching, it's just a gentle lift. And then inhale and exhale. Now we add 1 more component. I like to take my hands to my hip points here, so literally touch the crests of your hips here. Take a nice big deep inhale, keep that same breath going, keep that same exhale. So fill the belly, fill the pelvic floor, exhale, let the belly float in, lift the pelvic floor, and then expand everything. Now on your exhale, you're gonna add 1 more element. On your exhale, you're gonna try to think of your hip points coming closer together towards the middle of your body. So you add this wrapping sensation starting super, super low, below the hips. Wrap, and imagine a zipper going all the way up to the rib cage. Inhale, expand, release everything, the pelvic floor drops. Exhale, lift the pelvic floor, wrap, bringing those hip points closer together. That was really good, Bianca. Do 2 more breaths like that. Now, what we've done is if you were doing any of that chest breathing in the sympathetic nervous system, we've actually manipulated the body through coaching this breath into the belly to go into a parasympathetic nervous system response, which means we're in our rest and relax phase, which is something that we should be in anytime we're not like literally in our fight or flight phase using stress. So this is how if we feel that we're in that little like, oh my gosh, I can't breathe, I'm getting anxious phase, we can actually coach it back down into that calm nervous system phase just by doing breath work like this. Take 1 more breath and then we'll get started. And this is the breath I want you to think about through all of class, especially for Pilates purposes, that low hugging of these super, super low, deep abdominal muscles. Excellent, let's move forward. Okay, so you can take your pillow away, lie down flat on the mat. And let's just do do a couple pelvic tilts here so that we can get into that low back. So arms flat on the mat by your side, knees bent, feet flat on the mat, and go to that breath, the same breath you were doing. On your inhale, you'll be in neutral pelvis, enough space behind your low back for a blueberry. On your exhale, all those things happen, and you're gonna imprint your low back on the floor. 2 more times. Inhale, relax, release, come into neutral. Exhale, imprint the low spine. 1 more time. Inhale, relax, release in neutral. Exhale, imprint the spine. Come back to neutral pelvis. Bring your arms straight up to the ceiling, and let's do a little bug action today. I love the bug. So take one leg up to tabletop and bring the other leg up to tabletop. And you're gonna start your marching first. So you can bring your legs together and then lower one leg down to the mat. Exhale, lift the leg back up. Inhale, lower the other leg down. Exhale, lift the leg back up. Just our regular marching that we do every time to warm up. And then we're gonna add something in. So as your right leg goes down, your left arm, opposite arm, is gonna go back by your ear, and then you're gonna float everything back to the center together, switch sides. The opposite hand and leg go away from each other, and then they come back together. Try not to let that arm that's staying drop forward. It just stays straight up to the ceiling, so we're working on that shoulder stability too. And then you're using those abdominal muscles to lengthen, opposition away, and come back in together. And thinking about that exhale, drawing everything back in from the center line. Good, just 2 more, yeah. And then you have to immediately go into your mind-body connection to think about which arm, which leg. And that's what Joseph Pilates would have wanted. And that's what I want too. So we're immediately connected to the body, focused, concentrating, thinking about what we're doing. Good, and 1 more on the other leg, so we're even, Bianca. And then exhale, come back to center. Hug your knees, rock your hips side to side. We did a lot of breathing, so let's go right into our 100. Arms straight up to the ceiling, knees start into the chest. Curl your head, neck, and shoulders up. Look at your belly button. Send your legs to a high 45. Arms come down by your sides, hovering off the mat. And you start to pump those arms up and down. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale for 5. Exhale for 5. Good, keep going just like this for 8 more breaths. So Bianca, for me here today, I want you to really think about lengthening those legs out from the hip sockets. Yeah, it's as if I'm taking your feet and I'm gonna just tug them this way a little bit, and you're lengthening, 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 all the while doing that nice deep belly breath. All of you at home, make sure you're doing that belly breath. You can have the legs in tabletop if this gets to be too much. Otherwise, challenge yourself to keep those legs out there today. Go deeper into your core, not gripping in the hip flexors. 2 more breaths. We're almost there. Final breath. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stop pumping, bend your knees, lower your head, neck, and shoulders down. Take a breath. Place your feet flat on the mat, send your legs long. We set up for our roll-ups. So arms straight up to the ceiling, starting to get into that articulation of the spine all the way up, all the way down, legs zip together. So squeezing that midline, pressing the heels down into the mat. Take a nice big deep inhale. On the exhale, you go to your abdominal breath principles, or a belly pump is what they would call it. Roll all the way up. Reach the feet, fingers over the toes. Find a nice big C shape. Tuck your pelvis, pull your belly button back, and roll down to the mat, bone by bone. Let's do 3 more. The challenge is how slow can you go? So you're gonna do it on your own time, as slowly as possible, 3 times. Take like 8 to 10 counts to roll on up. When it gets sticky, you can kind of help yourself up with a little bit of momentum, but make sure you're pulling from the belly to do that. And then roll back down as slow as you possibly can. So what I mean by when it gets sticky is if you're coming up and you're not getting that smooth control all the way up because you're feeling like, oh, that's really hard, you can do like a little bend in your knees and kind of help yourself come up through that point. So if the legs lift or bend at that point, it's totally fine. Eventually you'll get there to these nice, beautiful slow roll-ups, just like Bianca. Good. That's so nice. Reach forward, think about lengthening the crown of the head forward a lot. Yes, that was beautiful. And then roll back down. Really nice adjustment, Bianca. All about that spinal alignment. So beautiful. Squeeze those inner thighs. 1 more time, nice and slow, roll up. So I'm in love with Pilates because it feels so good. Yes, this is challenging, but I love these nice, slow, controlled movements anchored in that contrology, which was the name that Joseph Pilates gave the system originally, all about that super, super controlled movement in the body. So as challenging as this is, I also think it feels really good, and like it should feel like a nice massage on the spine as you roll down, and a stretch in the back. Good. Now let's do 3 quickly. So 1 breath roll-ups. Inhale, roll all the way up on an inhale. Exhale, roll all the way down on 1 exhale. Inhale, as soon as your shoulders touch, you lift back up. Exhale, roll back down. 1 more time fast. Inhale to roll up. Exhale, roll all the way down. Good. And hold. Bring your hands right down on the mat. Bend your right knee into your chest and the right leg straight up to the ceiling. We're going to start our single leg circles here. If you want to challenge yourself, start from the get-go. Come up into your Pilates curl. If you feel like head down is good for you today, stay there. We're going to do 5 in each direction. So you start across the body, down and around, and straight back up. Drawing an imaginary capital backwards D in the air, or if we're on D, depending on which leg you're using, but it looks like a D shape. Good. After you do 5, you reverse the direction. You go straight down, across, and up. Straight down, across, and up. Straight down, across, and up. 1 more. Inhale, down. Exhale to lift. Bend the knee in. Lower the head, neck, and shoulder down. Good. Let's go to the left side, and then we're going to return to the right side, and we're going to see if we can increase that range of motion. So left leg first though, this is the small range of motion. This is your starting position. If you want to challenge, come up into your Pilates curl. Leg goes straight up to the ceiling, turns out slightly, toe is pointed. You start across the body, down, around, and up for 5. Inhale across and down, around, and up for 4. Inhale across, around, and up for 3. And 2, using that same breath we were doing at the beginning of class. So if you feel like you lost that, reverse direction, straight down, across, and up. After you've done 5 in 1 direction. If you feel like you've lost that deep abdominal connection, really just bring your brain, concentration, a principle of Pilates, right back to it and ask your body to do it. Sometimes that's all it takes. Isn't that amazing? If we like pay attention to it and go, wait a minute, am I doing it? Please, body, do it. And then sometimes it listens. Good. Let's go right back to the right leg. We're going to increase the range of motion. So we're going to leave the head down for this one. We're going to do a full circle, which means before I was doing this straight down, across, and up movement. Now I'm going to allow myself to come outside of the midline of the body, outside of the hips. But the goal or the rule is you cannot move your hips. So bring your hands onto your hips if that helps. You can do that circle as big as possible, but no rocking in the hips. So watch that rock. That's how you determine your range of motion, and that's how we make sure we're working on all of that core abdominal strength. If the hips are rocking around, nothing's engaged. It doesn't help us. 5 in each direction here on this right side. Head is down. There's a small curve behind your neck. That's natural. You feel your rib cage on the mat. There should be a small curve behind your low back too. Bend the knee in, lower the leg down. Let's do the left side, same thing. Larger range of motion, full circle, no movement in the hips. 5 in each direction. Good, Bianca. That looks awesome. 2 more. If you feel anything in that hip, if it starts to grip or it feels like popping or anything, that's a common thing that I hear, you're gonna go deeper into those abs. That's your key. That's your main goal. Go to that breath that we were doing before. Good. And then after you've done 5 in each side, in each direction, bend the knee in, place the leg down. Good. Hands straight up to the ceiling. Zip your legs together, flex your feet, take a nice slow roll up to come up. So just like we were doing before, as long as you can go to roll all the way up to sit. Yes, squeeze those inner thighs, pull that belly back. Then sit up nice and tall. Maybe this is the tallest you've sat all day. So roll up, thinking about lengthening the top of the head to the ceiling. And then scoot your butt forward, set up for rolling like a ball. Heels to your butt to your heels. Heels together, toes apart in your Pilates stance. Wrap your arms around your shins. All 10 fingers will face each other on those shins. And then you're gonna lift the heels up and you're in a big, deep C-shaped curve. Now, take a nice big, deep inhale and roll back to the tips of your shoulder blades only. Exhale, pull the abdominals in to roll yourself back up. Cool, pull those abs in more to stop at the top. You're gonna rock and roll back and forth. Inhale to rock back, exhale to roll up. Checking in with your pelvis, making sure you're tucked the whole time. The tucking action is what encourages you to go back, and the tucking action is what makes it challenging to balance at the top. Just 2 more. And then we're gonna challenge this. We haven't done this yet. And then come all the way up and hold at the top. Lower your feet down carefully. Take a breath. Okay, we're gonna advance this a little bit here. So, 2 options. Either genie arms here, one on top of the other, both of your elbows literally connecting to your knees, touching your knees, pressing into the knees, down, your knees pressing into your elbows, up. That's a little more contained. If you wanna go for one step further, you're gonna be in a goalpost shape with your arms, elbows glued to your knees, knees glued to your elbows.
So like this or like this?
Yeah, exactly.
I've never done the genie one.
Try it. Let's see what happens. Let's try
see what
the
happens.
genie. So you're gonna find that rolling like a ball shape, heels lift, you're rounded out. So when you're in this position, Bianca, make sure you're pressing your elbows down into your knees and you're pressing your knees up into your elbows, and you never wanna lose that connection. The key here is also to keep pulling your heels back to your butt actively the whole time through the whole exercise. Give me 5 rolling like balls in this position. See if you can get down and up, use those abs, press into those knees. It's hard, yeah. Good, 4 more, you got it, girl. Inhale, rock back, press in your knees, pull your heels into the butt to come up. 3 more, inhale back, exhale up, good. That's it, yes, 2 more. Press down, pull up with those knees and elbows. Pull the heels back. Round your spine. Is this your last one? I think it is. And stay, and lower your heels down. So that's how we challenge rolling like a ball. Pretty fun, huh? I like it.
Super fun.
Super fun. Lay down flat. Bend your knees into your chest. We're in our ab series. For our ab series here today, usually we do our hands on our knees and our ankle. I think we're like getting beyond that. We all know that the goal for that is to stay inside our Pilates box. Pilates box is hip to hip, shoulder to shoulder. So when I'm switching my legs, I don't want my leg to come outside of my hip. I don't want it to be like out here loosey-goosey. That's why we keep our hands there for our beginner system. Bend your knees into your chest, curl your head, neck, and shoulders up. Today, it's gonna be on you to squeeze those inner thighs together. And instead of hands on your knees, just bring your hands by your side in your 100 position, hovering off the mat. Curl your head, neck, and shoulders up. So the arms are up about 4 inches by the hips. There you go. And then start to switch those legs. One leg goes long and bends in and switch, and switch, and switch. So same exercise, hands are different. It makes it a little bit more challenging, especially because this is a single leg stretch. So you're gonna stretch and pull that knee into the chest as much as you can as it comes in on either side, but you don't have your hands helping you to pull in. So really use those little abs. You have 4 and 4, 3 and 3, 2 and 2, last 1 and 1. Bend your knees in, lower your head, neck, and shoulders down, and rock your hips side to side. Single leg stretch. Good. All right, let's go into our double leg stretch. Curl your head, neck, and shoulders up. Keep those knees bent into the chest and then curl up. Send your arms back by your ears. Let's just isolate the arms here first. Arms go by the ears, and then you're gonna take a nice big deep inhale. Focus on your breath. Exhale, circle the arms around, grab your knees. Don't move the legs yet. 4 more times like that. Arms go. The breath is key here. It's not a lot of crazy choreography with the arms, but we're going back to that concentration on the nice deep belly breath. 2 more. 1 more. And focusing on some isolation, which is kind of fun. Then send your arms long by your hips back into that 100 position. Straighten your legs out to a high 45. Pull your knees back in towards your eyebrows 5 times. Out and in 4. Squeeze those knees together even as they come in. 3, yes. And 2 and 1. Good, let's do 3 with everything. Legs go long, arms go long, hug the knees in for 3. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, hug. 1 more time. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, hug. Keep your knees into your chest, curl your head to your knees more, and hold for 3, hold for 2, hold for 1, lower everything down. Take a breath. Double leg stretch today. You can rock your hips, rock your neck, whatever you feel like you need. Let's do our next 2 exercises back to back. So no break between scissor and double leg and lower lift today. If you need to bring your hands behind your back before that lower lift, go ahead and take the time to do that. But we're not gonna take an official break. So let's go right into our scissor. Hug your knees into your chest, curl your head, neck, and shoulders up. And today for our challenge on the scissor, if you wanna send those arms to those 100 position arms, you can, just like we have been doing, or the hand comes onto the leg, behind the thigh, calf, or ankle. Curl your head, neck, and shoulders up. Either find your arm position, either 100 arms or behind your legs, send both legs straight up to the ceiling. Lower one leg halfway down, pulse, pulse the leg closest to your face twice, pulse, pulse, switch. Pulse, pulse, switch, pulse, pulse, switch. Keep going for 3 and 3. You have 2 and 2. The goal here is to not come out of your Pilates curl on this transition. Keep your legs up. Stop your legs in the middle, bring your hands behind your back or behind your head, and then Pilates stance your feet. Lower your legs halfway down, inhale, lift them all the way up. Let's do 3 slowly with control, both directions. So just the same amount of time to go down as you do to take to come up, and then we're gonna change the tempo. So down fast on 1 count, lift slowly for 3, 2, 1. Down fast on 1 count, lift slowly, 3, 2, 1. 1 more time, down fast. Lift slow, we reverse, we're almost there. Down slow, 3, 2, 1. Lift fast, use those abs. down slow. Don't lift your butt off the mat when you lift those legs. The butt stays down, the feet go high. One more time, feet go high, butt down. Bend your knees, lower your head, take a breath, rock everything side to side. How's that?
Great.
Great. We did it. No, we're almost there. We have to do our crisscross. Hands come behind the head. Knees bend into the chest. Curl your head, neck, and shoulders up. Send one leg long. Twist your torso to face that knee and hold. Bianca, try to squeeze your right knee more to the midline. Midline, midline. There you go. And switch sides. And hold. Check in with your alignment. Is your left knee going out or is it coming in too far? And switch. Good. Now we're going to do switch, 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 and hold. And 3, 2, 1, and hold. 2 more times. You switch right, switch right, switch left, and hold. Then we go again. Switch left, switch right, switch left, switch right, switch left, hold. I don't know if I did that right or not. Are we even?
Yeah.
Come to center, lower everything down. That was fun. Good. Take your hands, place them behind your thighs, rock up to a seated position. We set up for spine stretch forward. So lengthen your legs long on the mat. Open the legs to the mat distance apart. Hands come right in front of your shoulders, and you're imagining they're pressing into the wall. You're going to lift your spine up to reach forward and over, just peeling to your seated Pilates curl. So this shoulder blade stays on the imaginary wall. You get a nice big stretch here in the neck and the shoulders, and then you curl right back up to sit. When you come up to sit, that was great, Bianca. I really like your reach forward. When you come to sit, can you think about lengthening taller to the ceiling? So growing, reach forward, you grow forward. Now, everyone, when you pull your belly in and rebuild the spine from the abs, you're gonna think about being the tallest you've been all day. That's it. 2 more times. Reach forward. And then draw the belly in to rebuild the spine and you grow. That's it. 1 more time. Reach forward. Good. Keep those shoulders away from those ears. That's it. And grow. That's not one of the hardest things on that exercise is that we go forward and we all want our shoulders to go with us. There will be some movement of the shoulder girdle, but there's no shrugging. So there's a small difference between reaching and shrugging. And we want to keep that reach, not the shrug. Good. Open the arms a couple of inches. You still see them in periphery. Flex your feet just like Bianca just did. Twist your torso, face one side. Dive forward, saw off your pinky toe with your opposite pinky finger. Come back up to sit, you're still in the twist. You twist all the way through center, sit taller. Come all the way to the other side. Dive forward, saw off the pinky toe with the pinky finger. Come all the way up, you're twisted, come back to center. And then we're gonna speed that up. You twist and dive and grow and twist and dive and grow. Twist and dive and grow and twist and dive and grow. Keep going. 3 more on each side, focusing on stability of those hips by using that breath where you pull those hip points together so those hips don't start to rock side to side. We're watching that rock. After you've done 3 on each side, you're gonna stop. Good, come back to center, zip your legs together. Give me a nice slow, controlled roll down, as slow as you can come all the way down to the mat. That's the theme of the class today. I love slow roll down transitions. There you go. Shoulders stay on your back. That's it. That's it. Beautiful. Oh, so good. Keep pressing those heels down. Yes. That's it. And once you're all the way down, turn on over. Lie flat on your belly. Set up for swan. Okay, so flat on your belly. Let's do hands underneath the shoulders today. And then the elbows are pointing right up to the ceiling. Legs are separated inner hip distance. Toes are facing each other so that you can relax those glutes. The glutes don't do a lot of work. Take a nice big deep inhale, and before we move at all, let's do 3 big deep diaphragmatic breaths here on the ground. It's gonna feel differently with your belly on the ground. So ideally, I should kind of see you literally lift up off of the floor when you breathe in. That's it. Good, but also make sure you're engaging that pelvic floor on the exhale and pulling those 2 hip bones together. And the next time you exhale and you find that engagement, stay there, keep that nice abdominal engagement, and then I want you to start to breathe into your back of your ribs. So now I don't want to see your belly move, I want to see the back of your ribs move. If you're wearing a sports bra, you can think about expanding that band around your ribs, but keeping the abdominals gathered and collected. Yeah. Good. Now next time you lift up, those muscles that are breathing are going to help you to peel your head, neck, and chest up off the mat with a nice long neck come up into your swan. You're lifting from the back of the body. Good, and then you lengthen to lower back down. Try to put your forehead on the mat further than it was before. Good, you keep that abdominal connection and you use the back muscles to lift. And then you lengthen to lower down. Let's do 3 more like that. Check in with your glutes. Are they clenching? If they are, shake those hips a little bit. Bring them back to center. Keep those hips, those glutes relaxed and rely on that core for that gathering. Good, and after you've done 5, you can take a nice big swan. So kind of more like it's an up dog in yoga. More like that, but in yoga, well, I'm not gonna talk about yoga, I don't teach yoga. For me today, I want the focus to be on a nice long low back, so no crunching in the low spine. So come up as high as you want to, whatever feels good. Abdominals are engaged, so you still have that nice wrap, wrap, wrap feeling. And then you're thinking about length, 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 length here. Keep that neck nice and long and lengthen your spine. Melt the spine down, put the forehead on the mat further than it was before. We do 2 more just like that, just focusing on this nice love of the spine and extension today. So put that abdominal wrap on and then lift as far as you can. Keep the low back long and then lower back down. 1 more just like that. Keep hugging those elbows in a little bit more, Bianca. There you go. So you're almost in like a tricep, little bit push-up position. And then lower all the way down. Beautiful. Zip your legs together. Prop yourself up on your forearms and bring your knuckles together like you're wearing rings and they're touching. I want you to have a press into the mat with your forearms so you can lift your chest tall and proud, and then go to that breath and inhale, big deep belly breath. Exhale, lift the pelvic floor, wrap those hip points together all the way from the pubic bone to the rib cage. Stay there. Start breathing into that back spot that we talked about. Zip your knees together, ankles together. Kick your right heel to your butt twice. Kick, kick. Right foot down, left foot kick, kick twice. And switch. Kick, kick, and switch. Kick, kick, and switch. Good, keep going. That was a good adjustment, B. So she started to do a little rocking, but when she pressed up into her elbows more, she got a little more stability there from the core and from the shoulders. Your primary powerhouse is your core. Your secondary powerhouse is your shoulders. So there's no surprise that that's where she's getting all that strength from. 1 more time on each side. Good. Lower the feet down. Come, stop, and then come back into child's pose. Take a breath. Active child's pose. Take a nice big deep belly breath. Fill up the base of the body with air. Fill up the belly with air. Exhale all the air out. Think about that slight pelvic floor lift and that wrap of the hips. 2 more times. Inhale and exhale. Final one. Inhale and exhale. And then roll up to sit. I want you to do some side kicks today. So lie down on your mat on your side. Think about lining your back up with the back edge of the mat, and then you have a couple options for where your arm position is. It's either propping your hand up here, or your arm can be long and you can be laying on your arm. If you're doing that, if you have too much of a fall in your neck and your neck is out of alignment, maybe this is better, so it's a little more supported. But whatever feels good for you. And then your top hand comes onto your mat right in front of your belly, just like Bianca. Take your feet and you're gonna bring your heels towards the front edge of your mat so that you're in a kickstand shape. And your abdominals are engaged here. So go ahead and relax your belly like you're watching Netflix doing nothing. Take a nice big deep breath. Inhale, fill the belly with air. Exhale, wrap the abdominals. Good. And you should see, did you see how Bianca's hip shifted into space and she had more space between her shoulder and her hip? That's gonna also start to encourage your low belly, or side body I should say, to lift up off the mat like I could slide a pencil underneath. That's good, we wanna stay there. If you want a challenge here for side kicks today, you can take your top hand and put it behind your head. Otherwise, you keep it here for support. This is just next level. Take your top leg, your left leg up to hip height for Bianca, and you're gonna sweep your leg towards your face twice like a laser beam, kick, kick, and sweep it back once with a pointed toe. So you flex to kick, kick forward, you point to sweep back. Keep going just like that. And your goal is to keep those hips super, super still. So trying not to let those hips accommodate forward and back as you move that leg. Again, if those hips are moving, your hips and your abdominals are not engaged, they're not working, and that doesn't help us build strength or stability, which is what we're here for. Good, and think about when you come forward that you're stretching the back of the leg, and when you go back that you're stretching the front of the leg. So it should feel like a nice stretch. And also when you go back, you have that little squeeze on the bottom of the glute. There's a lot of things happening. Good, 1 more time, forward and back. And then bring the leg on top of the bottom leg, lower the leg down, flex the heel. We're gonna do up and down now, lift and lower. So lift with a flexed foot, point at the top, lower down. flex to lift, and point and lower. And while you're working on this exercise, keep going. I want you to think about this leg just growing miles and miles and miles the whole time in both directions. You could be doing a big range of motion like Bianca is if you have that ability in the hips. If you feel like your hips are moving around, if you come up and your hips are moving back, not what I want to see. I'd rather you have a smaller range of motion and keep those hips super, super still. Now let's reverse this direction. So point up, flex at the top, lead down with your heel. Point to lift, lead down with a flexed heel. Keep going. Lengthening that leg up, lengthening the leg down. 2 more times in this direction. Up and down. And up and down. Good. And then let's do a little hot potato. So that's fun. Bianca learned that this weekend. Lift the leg up to hip height, the top leg. Point the toe. And then you're going to tap the toes on the floor in front of you twice. Tap, tap. And then make a rainbow shape. Bring it behind you. Tap, tap behind you twice. Tap, tap front. Tap, tap, back. Good. And again, Bianca's doing a nice big range of motion, which is beautiful and I love it. Doesn't have to be that big. It can be small. Show them a small range of motion. You're still getting all that work in. The abs are still engaged. Good. And then just do 2 more big, Bianca. Big.
Oh, big.
Yeah. Tap, tap. Big. And then tap, tap. 1 more time. Big. Tap, tap. And big. Tap, tap. Good. Bring that leg right on top of the other leg. Flex both feet. Lift the top heel up. Only, we're not going to go right into beats. Let's do some circles first. So lower your bottom leg. Good. Heel is out. You're lengthening that leg out of the hip as if it's not even attached to your body a lot. And you're going to give me 5 circles in one direction with a flexed heel. 5 and 4. Squeezing that glute as it goes back to carve out the back part of the circle. Point the toe. Reverse directions for 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Bend the top knee, place the knee flat on the mat in front of you or the foot flat on the mat in front of you if you have that range of motion in the hip. Lengthen the bottom leg long like you're going to send it out the door across the street. Lift the bottom leg up to the ceiling and use the sensation from the top of the inner thigh to lift it up to the ceiling. You have 8 pulses up. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Make sure 2 and 1. Lower that leg down. Lift the leg up. I'm just going to show you something that I want you to try to avoid at home. So when you lift that leg and this knee is here, try not to collapse forward like this. Try to keep this top hip in alignment, okay? And then keep that leg lifted and you're going to give me 5 flexed heeled circles in one direction. Lift, focusing on the up and the up. 2 and 1. Point the toe and switch directions for 5. Up, 4, 3 and 2 and 1. Lower that leg down. Lengthen the top leg onto the bottom leg. Good. Now let's do our beats. So pointed toes, lift both legs up together off the mat. You can think about lifting the bottom leg up and the top leg comes because it has to. And then beat the inner thighs together, open, close, really quickly, as fast as you can. You have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and 3, 2, and 1. Lower your legs down. Good. And then let's just do our internal external rotation. We'll skip bicycle today since we did our hot potato. Flex the heel, lift the leg up to hip height, and then you're going to turn your toes up to the ceiling by rotating from the hip, and then turn the toes back to parallel with the ground. So not really internal, all the way up, all the way to parallel, all the way up to parallel, and up to parallel. 1 more time. And then let's change this. Now internally rotate, bring the toes to the ground, and then come back to parallel. So just that bottom part of that half circle down to the ground and back to parallel. 3 more times. Internal rotation and parallel. Internal rotation, parallel. Final 1. Internal rotation and parallel. Lower your foot down, roll onto your back. Let's take a figure 4 stretch. Good. So the working leg comes across the opposite leg, and you can bend that opposite knee into the chest, wrap your hands around the thigh, pulling it in. Get a nice big deep stretch here. Breathe into the glutes and the hips. And you can rock the hips side to side, do a little massage on that low back. Who doesn't love side kick series? It's so good for our hips, you guys. We have to get all that stability for all of our mobility in the world, right? So the stronger our hips and glutes are, the less injuries we have to knees and hips and ankles too. Good. Okay, uncross the legs. Let's do the other side. Did you have something to say about that?
No, it was just going to be like, preach.
Preach? Well, I'll preach. I'll preach. Okay, so set up the same way, lining up along the back edge of the mat, both feet forward, top hand in front or behind your head. Remember, that's the super challenge here. Bottom hand is either under your head or long. Flex both feet. Think about lengthening them away from you a lot first, then lift the top leg up, and then bring the top leg forward, kick. Kick with a flex foot, point, sweep, back. Flex, kick, kick, and point, sweep, back. Good. Really use this time to check in with your body, concentrate, and gather the control of your hips. So you're watching that rock in that hips. You are your own check-in system. You're your own police. So check in with yourself. Make sure that you're focusing and being mindful about this movement. 2 more. And last one. Good, and then restack the top leg onto the bottom. You're gonna flex the heel on the top. Think about a nice long top side of the body. See if you can find that little pencil shape, pencil space underneath your body by pulling those abdominals in. Lift that top leg up, and then point the toe at the top, lower it down. So we go for our flex to lift, point to lower. That's it, flex, lift, point, lower. Everything in Pilates is determined, your range of motion for every exercise is determined by your alignment. So as long as you're in alignment, you can go as far as feels good for your body. But as soon as anything starts to come out of alignment, the shoulder comes forward, the hip goes back, etc., then you've gone too far. And we work within that range of motion until we get stronger and more flexible to make it bigger. Now switch. Go point up, flex down. Point to lift, flex to lower. Good. 2 more. And final one. Point lift, flex lower, and then take a breath, and then we're gonna do our hot potato. So point that top toe, tap the floor in front of you twice, tap, tap, lift, and bring it behind you, tap, tap. And again, big range of motion or small range of motion, as long as you have that control. Control is the name of the game today. Control, and abdominal breath, and slow movement, which is also control. Good. 3 more. 2. Beautiful. And 1 more. Think about a nice long leg, lengthening out of your hip. Lower the leg down. Good. Now we have our circles. So lift that top leg up, flex your heel. This one? Top leg circles, then we do our internal leg too. Lift the top leg up, flex the heel, and give me 5 circles in one direction, really carving out the back with the glute. After you've done 5, you point your toe, reverse directions for 5. Good. Stabilizing those hips. That's the name of the game. And then once you're done with that, lower that leg down, bring the top foot onto the mat in front of you, lift the lower leg up off the mat with a flexed heel, pulse the inner thigh up to the ceiling for 8, 7, 6, good, just keep this hip forward a little bit more for this one there, 3 and 2 and 1, and then you have 5 circles with a flexed heel here, I don't care which direction, 2, 1 point and reverse for 5 and 4. Good. 3. I'm just giving Bianca a little traction here so she gives that hip forward. 1, and then lower that leg down, and then bring the top leg on top of the bottom leg, and then we have our beats. So both legs are together. Point the toes, Pilates stance the feet. The bottom leg lifts the top leg up, and then you beat the inner thighs together for 8, 7, 6, and 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower both legs down, flex both heels, lift the top leg up, and we have our internal external rotation. But first we're going to do the external rotation to the ceiling and parallel from the hip. So notice Bianca moves from here. Her whole leg bone is rotating out, not just her ankle or her calf from her knee. That would be painful. And then 1 more like this, and then we're going to do our internal rotation and then parallel. So it's a small movement, really working from that hip socket, that hip joint, and thinking about all those little tiny muscles that work to help us walk upstairs every day. 2 more. Final 1. Lower that leg down, come onto your back, and we do our figure 4 stretch here. Good stretch. Rock your hips side to side. Breathe that breath into the hips. This should be a beautiful moment where you feel fantastic about your day. As Salma would say, feel good about your life choices. That's one of my favorite. This is a life choice you can feel good about. Take 2 more breaths here. And 1 more. Good. And then uncross the legs, place your feet flat on the mat. Let's do a little shoulder bridging here. So feet flat on the mat, heels close to your butt. And the legs are inner hip distance apart, so literally tracking right in front of your hip sockets. So that's not outside of your hips, and it's not zipped super, super close together. Heels are as close to your butt as they can be, arms long by your side. Take a nice big deep inhale, and then peel your hips up to the ceiling. So you tuck your pubic bone and you lift the hips, articulating the spine up. Now stay here for a couple of breaths. And I want you to think about lengthening your knees long over your toes. And then I want you to ask yourself if you feel like your knees are opening wider than your ankles or coming in towards each other. Most of the time our knees want to open wider than our ankles. Imagine you have like a small ball in between your knees and you're putting a little tension on that so that the inner thighs are coming together. Now lengthen on your next inhale, this whole top side of the body from shoulders to knees, and on your exhale melt the ribs together, melt the spine down to the mat, bone by bone. So ultimately that should feel pretty good. It's a nice like chest opener, back opener. It should feel pretty good. Let's do 2 more just like that. We just did that nice and slow and we held that position, focusing on that precision of the body. So let's keep all of that in mind and just do 3 flowing up and down with the breath. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. Make sure your toes, all 10 toes, are on the mat, and make sure the whole bottom of the foot is really engaged with the earth and the ground. You don't want those arches to like peel up, and you would be on the outside of your feet. So if you feel any of that sensation, try to get the full foot connected to the ground. Good. And then after you've done 3 of those, we're gonna eliminate the articulation. We're just gonna hinge. So you're gonna keep your body, your back as one piece, and try, the attention I want you to pay is to your hips. So when we hinge up, it's easy because of our imbalances in strength, which we all have, for one hip to like slightly lift higher than the other or like raise faster. Just really focus on that. And if you feel that happening, you know, bring attention to your feet. Which foot are you pressing into maybe more with a little more strength? Try to even it out. Press into the other hip, other foot more so that opposite hip can lift with you. So really trying to track both hips up and down together with a straight spine. So press both feet into the floor, keep your back flat, and lift both hip points up to the ceiling together into a high shoulder bridge. Yes, so that was beautiful. Bianca took her time because I know it's because she was focusing on those, like that traction, right? When people do this and they start moving quickly, I'm like, I know you're not focusing. And speed will not necessarily help you in this exercise, which is the one thing I love about it. Now, same thing on the way down. Both hips go down together. I want you to feel the middle of those 2 hip points touch the mat first. And then you're gonna feel both hip points touch at the same time on either side. So speed doesn't help you here. You wanna feel that super, super precision. Lift both hips up together, precisely together at the same time. Or as best as you can, right? We're not perfect. Although we'd like to be. And then lower your hips down, lead with the middle of that back, let both hip points touch together. And then just 1 more like that. Bridge those hips up, make sure those knees are not opening to the side. You have that imaginary ball in the middle that you're putting a little bit of tension on, and then melt the flat back down together, middle of the back comes down, both sides touch next. Beautiful. Good, let's go into our teaser. That was a fun bridge series. Bend your knees into your chest and your hands up to the ceiling. It's teaser time. Oh my gosh, it's Teaser Tuesday! Yay! It's Teaser Tuesday. Hashtag Teaser Tuesday. Get all over that. All right, arms straight up to the ceiling. We're coming into our teaser. Send your legs to a high 45-degree angle. Curl your head, neck, and shoulders up. Come up to reach for your toes in your teaser. You have a super tall, proud chest, so Bianca, try to get those pecs a little wider. That's it. And you're gonna hold for 2 breaths today. On your second exhale, you'll melt your spine down. Keep reaching your fingertips towards your toes. Melt from the middle of the rib cage to roll down. So you have tension working on the way down. It's not just a fall. Good. And then you bend your knees in. If you want to do that again, come into it the same way. Otherwise, you can go into a teaser 2. Legs go long on the mat. You're allowed to do modifications too, by the way. Hands straight up to the ceiling. I'm just saying. Good. Now, if you're going to do our teaser 1 that we just did, you start with your knees into your chest, you send your legs to a high 45, and you curl up. If you're coming up from this position, zip your legs together. I want you to think about that inner thigh connection today in this teaser. So a lot of times we grip in our hips, and if we engage those inner thighs and the core together, we can get out of the hips a little bit more. So squeeze those inner thighs like it's your job. Lift your legs up and your upper body up into your tall V teaser at the same time. Reach for those toes and hold. Now lower your feet 2 inches together and lift them up. Try not to let your upper body move much at all. You lower and lift 2 more times. Inhale, lower the feet 2 inches. Exhale, lift the feet. Inhale, lower 2 inches. Exhale, lift. And then melt the upper body and the lower body down to the mat all together. Try to get your heels to touch at the same time as your shoulders. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Ha, that was great. All right, now we're gonna do the same thing. Arms straight up to the ceiling, or if you want even more of a challenge, the arms can start back by the ears. You're either going to come up into your high V teaser in one piece, or you'll bend the knees into the chest and the legs to 45 and roll up. Whenever you're ready, here we go. Take a nice big deep inhale. Exhale, lift yourself up into your high V teaser. Lower body and upper body lift. Hold here. Find your teaser. You're not perched on your hip bones. You're tucking. Lower both arms down by the hips. Lift them up. Inhale, lower the arms down. They stay long and reaching, coming up. 2 more times, down and up. 1 more time, down and up. Reach for those toes, melt from the middle of the body all the way down. Heels and shoulders try to touch at the same time. Arms come back in line with the ears if you're doing that. Advanced teaser 2. Intermediate teaser 2. Take a nice big deep inhale. We have 1 more teaser. Inhale and come up into your high teaser. On your exhale. Good, squeeze those inner thighs. Okay, we're gonna circle the arms today. So the arms go around. There you go. Woo-hoo. It's okay. You can put a bend in your knees, B. Bend your knees, bend your knees, bend your knees. Good, and then roll down. Keep your feet there. Don't come out of it. Don't lower your feet. That's it, and then bend your knees and take a breath. So I saw that. Her hips started to grip. Right?
Yeah.
Like that, her hips are tired. She's been doing a lot of Pilates and other, yeah, right, like life. Like you can feel that way at home too. So if your hips start to grip, it's no time to be a martyr. You don't have to do all the teaser 2. Just come into that bent knee position. That's automatically going to let those hips turn off, and it's going to ultimately be safer for your hips, better for your core. Good. Place your hands behind your thighs or rock up to a seated position. Come up to stand. Let's end with some planking. So you're gonna be at the top edge of your mat, either side, it doesn't matter. Heels together, toes apart, arms straight up to the ceiling. Start with a shrug of the shoulders to place those shoulders back down the sides of the spine. Tuck your chin to your chest, and then roll all the way down. Find your hands on the mat and walk your hands out till you're in a high plank position. Your hands are gonna be right underneath your shoulders. A modification here, by the way, which I don't think I've ever given, is with your knees on the mat, right? So you're here, but your feet up. There you go. But you're like in a plank. There. That's a modification if you feel like you don't have the ability to stay up on your toes and your arms. The other modification, come up into your plank, Bianca. The other modification is going to be to come down onto your forearms, which I actually find harder than that knee one because that's a lot on your shoulder girdle working. So either of those modification works. And then let's come back into your plank so we can just get everyone out of it. Hopefully at home you held that plank. Pike your hips up to the ceiling into a down dog and walk your hands back to your feet. Hang forward over your body. Take a nice big deep inhale. On your exhale, roll all the way up, bone by bone. Arms come up to the ceiling. Good. Shrug the shoulders, drop the shoulders down the back. Tuck the chin, roll down. We'll do 1 more plank here. Walk your hands forward. You have an option once you're in your plank to modify either way that we just showed you, or stay in this plank, and you either will do a hold for a plank for a while, or 8 Pilates push-ups, which are narrow elbows to the rib cage, or 4 Pilates push-ups if that's all you got today, and then you keep holding. Press your fingers into the mat, Bianca. That's it. Wide fingers. Good. So you guys all saw that Pilates push-up. It was nice and narrow. Elbows by the rib cage and then back up. You have 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. On your exhale, pike your hips up to the ceiling. Breathe. Go ahead and lift your heels up and pedal your heels out just a little bit, side to side. It should feel good. Beautiful. And then bring your heels up together, high, and then walk your hands back to your feet. Can you keep your heels lifted, find your balance, and roll up to the top? If not, that's okay. Bring your heels down and roll up, but maybe you try a little balance challenge to end. That's it, that's it. Squeeze those inner thighs. Arms up to the ceiling, heels down, heels lift. There you go. Toes lower. Press the arms down to the side. Grow taller in the spine as you do. And you are all done for this wonderful Teaser Tuesday. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys are awesome. I'm having so much fun doing this. I hope that you guys are. I think you're having fun.
We had a great time.
We're all having fun. Share the news with friends. Tell them that what we're doing. If you have anybody that wants to be on my mailing list, shoot me a DM. Again, we're on next Thursday, the 21st, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then the next Saturday, March 3rd, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm at Financial Gym on the 27th. If you want to train with me, if you're in New York, you want to train with me, or if you're online and you want to do some private sessions via Skype or on Instagram or whatever, hit me up. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And find us on YouTube.